Alright, this is me explaining and preparing an anesthesia machine. Sorry, I'm backing it up a little bit. This is my OCCI certificate. So essentially, I'm pretty sure that this is a in-circle anesthesia machine, meaning that the vaporizer for the gas is actually inside the entire circulation of the oxygen and everything as far as the anesthesia machine goes. So the oxygen actually comes in from the oxygen tank through hose, obviously, back here, and it goes from the hose. From the hose through the flow meter right here. I'm actually going to turn on the oxygen, and you can actually see that the oxygen tank has about half a tank, which is about 8,000 kPa, or a little about 1,100 psi. Pressure for oxygen in there. So anyway, it comes through, and you can see that little, I don't know if you can see the little ball come up, but that means that the oxygen is flowing just fine. But so it comes through the back, through the flow meter. The oxygen will come through here, through the back of this flow meter, and you can just follow it really to the vaporizer, which we use isoflurane. It goes from the vaporizer, and you see that it says inlet and then outlet. From the outlet, you can follow it through here to this little hose back here, which comes through to the side over here through our soda which is what kind of absorbs a lot of the carbon dioxide that is emitted from our patient. And you can see that this is actually changed on the 13th. We haven't had too many surgeries since the 13th, but typically you want to change it every 2 or 3 days, just because roughly about 8 hours worth of surgery is really all that this will handle, and it starts to turn purple. We can see that right now that it is white, but that's just because it's not being used. It doesn't necessarily mean that it's still good. So that's why you always want to make sure that you have it stating what day that it was last changed. So if you have any questions about it, always change it. But you see that again, the gas will come through this hose through here through our soda and this little hose right here will actually come down through, and these two hoses is our inhale, exhale, which will be going straight to the patient. So the oxygen is already on. As all of this is, exiting, obviously, there's also what, the scavenging system, which is the waste anesthetic gas that the patient puts out, that the soda does not absorb. The waste anesthetic gas will actually come through this little hose, which we have connected to our scavenging system, which turns on just like a little vacuum, essentially, and that actually has a pipe that goes out through our ceiling to the outside. That way we're not, breathing in any waste gas. So I'm going to perform a leak test. I don't know if you can really see my bag here. So essentially what you do, you have your oxygen on. I'm going to turn on my oxygen, and I'm going to put my thumb over I don't know if you can see it filling up. My thumb over the hose here. That would be essentially the patient, and you see that this is filling up. And I can close the pop-off valve, and you can see where the gauge is starting to come up. And you usually don't want it to go past 22 to 25 centimeters per water. And you can see that, oh, I don't have my finger on there properly, so it's got a little bit of a leak. I don't have a big finger. You see it rising, and you see that and I don't hear any leaks. And you just test that a couple of times and just really listen closely if you hear anything like that. But you see that the breather bag is filling up nicely, and it's not leaking. I don't hear any leaks anywhere on the machine. And it's doing pretty good. I would say that this is a properly working anesthesia machine. So I'm going to go ahead and turn off my oxygen, open up my pop-off valve. That's one of the most dangerous things to do. I'm going to make sure that it's completely open. Always make sure that your pop-off valve is open, so that way your patient doesn't wind up getting any kind of lung damage, because if it's off, then the patient's not getting any oxygen, and that's when you wind up with a whole world of hurt. So always make sure that it's on, or open rather. In our office, we're technically not allowed to touch the pop-off valve. Only the doctors are allowed to touch the pop-off valve. But that is how you prepare an anesthetic machine. You can see here also that this gauge right here says that we have plenty of isoflurane in our vaporizer. But yeah, other than making sure that your Sotazorb is good and it's not turning purple or anything like that, like I said, if you have any questions about when the last time it was changed, or is this still good, then just go ahead and change it. Any questions, just go ahead and do it. And then, just always check your gas to make sure that you have plenty of gas in here. Last thing you want to see is your patient waking up during surgery because you don't have enough gas in your vaporizer. And always double check your oxygen tank to make sure that you have plenty of gas or plenty of oxygen in your tank to make sure that you have obviously plenty of oxygen for your patient. But that would be it. That's how you prepare an anesthetic machine and make sure that it's not leaking or anything like that.